Welcome back to a special edition of Extreme Genes.
Yeah, I don't think Mother knew about this.
Uncle Marvin was strangled by his own beard.
Yeah, you never saw it coming.
Well, hello, genies. It is Fisher here, your radio root sleuth, on the program where we shake your family tree and watch the nuts fall out. And you didn't think you'd be rid of me that easily, did you? Well, I'll tell you what. I promised back in December when we ended our regular weekly show that we'd be back now and again with special editions of Extreme Genes. And what I had in mind then was when something came along that was so unique, so special, and so important to our space, I would share that with you. And it happened this year at RootsTech. And it's one of those years at RootsTech that we're always going to look back and remember as being the beginning of something huge, something special that is going to change the way we research our ancestors. It's called Generative AI. And what this artificial intelligence does is it takes long, complicated, handwritten records, which in the past would have to be indexed by human beings, where we go through and pick out the names so we can do the searches on it. Well, this generative AI will actually read the handwriting, which was always the holy grail for people working on this kind of technology, and it will index all the words in the document. So they don't have to make forms for different languages, different types, and learns as it goes. So as you make corrections, it just keeps getting better and better. And as you'll hear from Steve Rockwood, the CEO of FamilySearch International here in just a few moments, this thing has actually been put to the test with foreign languages without having been programmed to do so. This is just remarkable stuff. So let's get to Steve Rockwood right now and hear about what this is all about and how our world is about to be changed forever. Steve, how many years you've been doing this now? It's been a long haul.
It's been 8 years, and I'm still pinching myself. Don't believe I get to actually do this.
Well, and you know, it's been our pleasure to have you in that role because of all the changes we have seen in your 8 years. Obviously, you came in just as DNA began its massive tsunami that has now become kind of the norm within our industry. Now we have something really new and exciting.
A tsunami that's going to become the norm as well, and that's generative AI. I really think this is reminiscent of what we saw 7 or 8 years ago with DNA.
So explain to people the difference between generative AI and AI.
Well, generative AI is based on large language models where you can actually, you don't just teach a computer to do a certain task. It actually will start to learn on its own as it learns experientially. And so you are able to then iterate much more, and you're able to do it not just in coding speak, but actually a natural language. So you and I will soon learn how to become amateur or professional prompt engineers. How do we actually just prompt the computer, not through typing and not through code, but through natural language, to tell them what we would like them to help us with. And because of the incredible technology of generative AI, it can actually begin to respond and learn as it does so.
And we're seeing so much of that on FamilySearch right now, especially with interpreting handwriting and translating languages and actually going through and indexing entire texts, which really is a game changer. You're just getting started on it. We've heard really a small number for what's to come, but you're going to do all of the records that you have on FamilySearch that are not at this point searchable.
That's a great example of what we were talking about before. So with AI, we were teaching the machines how to index a record. So we were teaching that this is the language, this is the record type, if it's an open form, paragraph, census, and we would teach it and teach it and teach it. And we had the data to do that. And it would take us years to get it down to, okay, we now have it for Spanish with this type of record. But with generative AI, we don't have to do as much teaching to the computers, and we watch it learn as we just feed it through a bunch of examples. For example, we had a wonderful breakthrough. We had some Hungarian records. And we didn't take the time to teach it Hungarian and to teach it record type. We just wanted to see what happened if we would run this through that engine, and we were astounded by the accuracy of it.
Really, what did it do? Did it translate it, or did it just pick out certain words that it recognized from other languages?
It's literally called full text search. So it just learns from every text that's in there. And if you have enough data to show it, it will learn it and then start to interpret and start to learn.
So as somebody who has a lot of brick walls, as all researchers do, but some, are triple brick walls, and you've had them for 10, 20, 30 years, this kind of material can unlock information that can kind of smash those things down at some point.
It will give those brilliant genealogists, who will always be brilliant genealogists, more data and more resources to shine their brilliance upon.
No, that's absolutely true.
That's exactly what the internet did. It gave you access to things that you used to have to go and find and investigate in person. The internet gave you access from wherever you are. This is going to give you even more access through generative AI.
Well, and as I think about the documents that you're talking about, this will help finding, say, enslaved people and the enslavers,
right,
and stories about women that we don't see so much in a lot of the vital material. I mean, all kinds of things.
And a lot of fields that traditional indexing just didn't have the resources or time to capture. So they would index only a few fields, and hopefully if you went searching for that field, then you'd find out the rest of the story of the unindexed part of the record. Well, now with full text search, we'll be able to capture those things, everything that's in the record.
And we're just talking about research here, but there are AI tools now for repairing photographs,
right,
and for recolorizing them or changing black and white into color. I've just been recently taking cassette recordings from the early 1970s of my grandfather, who was interviewed in 1974, born in 1886, telling stories from the 1890s and early 1900s. And he was almost off mic most of the time, but with AI, it made it sound like he was right in a recording studio last week, which just made my head explode using the software I found online. That's another tool.
And that's the thing I love about you, Scott. You don't just talk the talk, you walk the walk. See, you did exactly whatever it needs to do. Go find these things, go play with it, go learn with it. And here's the other cool thing. As we learn with AI, AI learns from our learning. So for example, if I see a record that's not indexed appropriately or it wasn't transcribed appropriately, and I now can go change that, it helps me with that one transaction. But just the fact that I changed it now taught the AI to do a better job next time.
Absolutely. He's Steve Rockwood. Steve, as always, thanks so much for all that you've done for all of us around the world. It's an amazing thing. So let's bring in my old friend David Allen Lambert from the New England Historic Genealogical Society and AmericanAncestors.org. And David, it was so great seeing you at RootsTech. Well, at least half of you. With the half that's still left, you've lost, what, 55 pounds?
Yeah, well, speak for yourself, friend. I think the combined we're almost up to 100 pounds off.
Yeah, we are. I've lost 38. It's been fantastic, but it was great to see you there. And to me,
Likewise.
The big takeaway from the whole thing was AI. And
without a doubt,
the products that people are rolling out, and the one that really has impacted me the most since the end of RootsTech was their new program that's available on FamilySearch. It is in beta, as they say in there. There is no support for it yet, that there are many errors. Get this, the AI will actually go through, read the handwriting, no matter how varied it may be, and it's pretty darn good, pretty accurate for the words it picks up, but it misses many chunks of words. Now, it's working on a database that they initially and incorrectly said, by the way, on the dinner before RootsTech, that there was 100,000 documents. It's actually 100 million documents. Misspoken. But most of it is land and property records from around the United States, plus plantation records, which is incredible for researching enslaved ancestors, and also some Mexican records as well. So they're expanding there, and this is just the beginning because, as most people know who work with FamilySearch, they have hundreds of millions of pages that are not searchable. They're not indexed. You can go on and browse, but that would be a very difficult thing to do. First of all, you got to know what you're looking for. And half the time, we really don't know what's out there to find. But as we've gone on to this beta program, and we'll tell you how to get there in just a couple of moments, I have been finding a ton of things. And how about you, Dave?
Well, it's funny because I kind of alluded back in the fall. I stumbled across something. Somebody put the link out, which was only staff, unbeknownst to me. In fact, I did my initial search one night, and I felt so bad that I had stumbled across it like a back door in the movie War Games, but I didn't do anything more. In fact, I didn't even really tell many people what I found. So my great-great-grandfather, Alexander Livingston Poor, who sadly drowned in 1884, we have no photo of. He doesn't have a gravestone, don't have any pictures of the houses he lived in.
Yeah.
I really don't know a lot about what he physically looked like, even by description. But I've always sought after signatures. Well,
Yeah.
I never found anything he signed. He didn't leave a will. But the way the AI works, Fish, it went into the Essex County, Massachusetts probate and found his signature on, ready for this, not a near relative, but one of his spinster first cousins left in her will money to 4 of her cousins, including my great-great-grandfather and 3 of his siblings, and they all signed the document.
And you got your signature, something personal from him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I've got my great-grandfather, Andrew, the firefighter from New York that I spend so much time on. Who would know that he bought property in Brooklyn? Who would know that he bought property in Long Island? I had no idea. Why would I ever even look there? Except for AI took me there, and there it was. And then on my wife's side, it's taken me to all kinds of places, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and I've been able to identify now the lots of land and the places that they live by comparing modern maps with old maps. And I actually discovered a house that's on Google Street View that was built in 1880 by my wife's third great-grandparents.
Wow.
Yeah, it's still there.
And the technology is just going to get better, and more images are going to be added into this.
Yeah.
So it's great to have indexers. I mean, I couldn't live without all the thousands of people that have indexed on FamilySearch.
Yeah.
But now to have technology on our side too, it's amazing.
Oh, yeah. Well, by the way, this is more like a keyword search. And the nice thing about property records is usually the names that are in there are mentioned several times. So if the AI, in what is admittedly the infancy stage right now, if it misses a name or something, there are many other opportunities to pick it up somewhere else in the document. And that would go the same for the plantation records and all these other things. I think we should mention the URL for this by now, because I've got to imagine that there are a bunch of genies right now screaming at us going, what's the URL? Where do we get to this? It's simple enough. You go to familysearch.org/EN, which is for English, /labs, LABS. And that will take you to several different new features that's being rolled out in beta by FamilySearch. But you have to add the word labs in there. Otherwise, there really isn't any place. So you click here, you click there, and you get there. You have to know to add that to the end. And also, I played with it without the EN for English, and it works the same way there, too. So this particular thing, it's called Full Index AI, is the first experimental beta section on FamilySearch. So you just go in there and you start putzing around with it using filters. You can narrow it down to specific counties. Even if you have a common name, you can narrow it down using those things. And it's really remarkable. I just can't get over how it reads handwriting that I struggle to read.
You know, I keep on saying that I'm going to need stronger glasses, but maybe I won't now that AI is up there.
Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, they've got a long way to go with this still. First of all, to just get it to interpret the documents they already have with more accuracy. And I'm noticing, like I said, that when I looked at the transcript, there were huge chunks of it that were left out. And as I was going through trying to put that back together, I was realizing, oh, well, you're going to miss out then on some of the coordinates of the land that's being bought or sold that can help you kind of identify where your people's property was. And that, for people who like to travel in the summer and see where some of their folks lived, that's a really good thing and really fun thing.
Well, I love what FamilySearch has continued to do for us, and I just can't wait for further advancements that are going to bring more tech to us.
Yeah, absolutely. Great to talk to you as always. We will talk to you soon, Dave.
All right, look forward to it, friend.
All right, so let's bring in Thom Reed. He is a program manager at FamilySearch and very much engaged in African American heritage. And Thom, it's great to have you on the show and talk about all that's going on right now with generative AI. And we're still only in the beta stage of things at FamilySearch, but nonetheless, there's a lot here that can impact research into enslaved African Americans.
Absolutely. This is an exciting time to be in the technology space, especially in genealogy, because of the advances of generative AI and what we've been able to do and others are continuing to do with AI.
Well, I hope you are bringing like extra treats and gifts over to your engineering people who are making this thing happen, because this is just insane. What can you tell us about people's discoveries into their enslaved ancestors already? And it's just been out a few weeks in beta.
Yeah, you never know what people are going to find or how it's going to be effective until you really put it out there. And so I've been kind of waiting with bated breath for our engineering team to get it out there, to be able to launch it at RootsTech and to share. But now I'm seeing Facebook posts and I'm hearing from friends that are truly saying they're finding their needles in what used to be the haystack.
Wow.
Right? That they'll be able to target their search because of the large language models we've used and all the things that we've done with machine learning. Now, all these images that you used to have to browse on a digital browser, on FamilySearch to look at, now you can type in some keywords that get you targeted to where that enslaved ancestor may be. It is kind of the sledgehammer to the 1870 brick wall.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I would imagine, too, if there's an unusual name in there, that's especially helpful because it would be, really narrowing things down there. So what's some of the people's reactions to using that sledgehammer and the things they found?
Well, it's like with any discovery, you've experienced this for yourself, but it's always so energizing and enlightening. And it advances work that they've been trying to do for so many years.
Yes.
Just by using this little bit of technology now. Just like microfilm and digitization of microfilm was so dramatic in this industry, now generative AI is that dramatic thing that's changing how frequently people are coming across things that would take them years and years to comb through. It's nothing but raving reviews. I mean, the biggest complaint I get, this is, and I know our engineers hear us loud and clear, is everybody's like, you've only put 103 million images into this thing. You need to keep pumping it full of all kinds of records and stuff. Like, where are the next record? That was one of, I got an email asking, okay, where are the next records coming? When are you going to add these collections and things like that? Because these are things that haven't been indexable before.
Sure, that's right.
This technology allows us almost to shortcut that indexing process and being able to use a computer to help transcribe. And then what you do with that after that is just amazing as well. I've seen some interesting uses of generative AI after people have found those records. They're written in language that's not our common language, today in the early 1800s and things like that. And so people are using AI to do some analysis on that deed that they've been able to find and to be able to define those relationships and put those into family trees. Sky's kind of the limit as what can be done with generative AI and how people are just so excited about what they're able to do to find their enslaved ancestors. It's what will help get people, especially people of African descent here, in the United States and Canada, to what I call the water's edge.
Yep.
It's the records that lead to where they came off of boats through the transatlantic slave trade here. Now we're starting to see that we can get people to those records and people can find those ancestors and know where they came to this country.
Yeah.
That is powerful, powerful stuff.
It changes everybody's life to know where they came from and who they came from and whose shoulders we all stand on, right?
Absolutely. I need to pay tribute to the FamilySearch engineering team. And in particular, there's two names I would like to call out. I know there's more behind the team, and I hope that these two names will share my personal appreciation for what they've done in developing this full text search tool, simply because of what it does for enslaved Africans. But that's Mike Davis and Ian James. at FamilySearch, who, Mike is kind of our product manager for search and does everything that we do related to search. But hats off to them for this work. They've truly seen the value that it brings to the genealogy community and have worked night and day tirelessly to bring this out. And it's only going to get better thanks to those guys.
Yes. I mean, it is beta. And I've noticed, for instance, that in the full transcript of these pages, handwritten, it does miss chunks of copy for some reason, whatever. It doesn't really matter if it takes you to the document. If you can capture a name and get there, you can fill in those blanks yourself, but ultimately it's going to get so much better. My question for you is, Tom, then how often are records added to the database that's now at 103 million?
So this was just the initial launch, and I know that they've kind of queued up other things. They've not released kind of the timeline of other collections that they're going to be adding. But I mean, I watched the process on the back end work for about a year to get from where they were before with kind of an experiment that they were doing to what they released at RootsTech. It was over a year. They built it to be able to continually add things. After they built the original off of the 2 record sets, there were Mexican notary records and then U.S. land and probate records. After that, they added some additional plantation records, which we had identified before, and that was done relatively quickly. They're still in the learning phase. Like you said, it's beta. And so they don't have a published calendar of what they're going to be adding to it. But I know that the goal is to change the way that we search. We have our standard existing indexing searches and collections and things like that on FamilySearch, and thousands of collections available there for free for anybody to find. But now you've got this additional unindexed, handwritten, like you said, collections that will continually be fed, that hopefully is going to lead people to having these joyful journeys of discovery of their family more and more. And for people searching for enslaved, I mean, this is the hope. This is what Henry Louis Gates, we all know Skip Gates.
Yep.
This is what he said in an email to us last week about how this will change the game, the face of African American genealogy forever, using this technology and now being able to search these records by keyword.
Tom, I'm as excited as you are. I could hardly sleep when this stuff came out at RootsTech. So hopefully people will check it out. Once again, go to FamilySearch.org/en/labs, LABS, and you'll find it as the first experiment right there that you can log into and start seeing if you can make some discoveries. I sure have.
Awesome. So good to hear that.
Amazing stuff. Thanks so much, Tom. Great seeing you at RootsTech.
Good to see you too.
Well, genies, you can tell from Steve Rockwood and David Allen Lambert and Thom Reed, this is a really big deal. Very comparable to when DNA came along, very comparable to when the internet came along and how it's changed our world. And I can tell you, ever since RootsTech and doing some of these interviews, I've found close to 24 property exchanges that I never would have looked for before or expected to find in certain places. So there's so much information that you can not only find, but that you can develop by the use of it. So check it out at FamilySearch.org/en/LABS. It's free. If you haven't signed up for FamilySearch yet, you got to take care of that and enjoy your journey. Talk to you again next time, whenever that may be. And remember, as far as everyone knows, we're a nice, normal family.